Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Honor the Land. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. The first episode back after the Cleveland Browns bring in Joe Flacco. We got plenty to talk about with him, the NFL draft, Travis Hunter, Nick Chubb's Instagram post, a new sign on Huntington Bank Field, and plenty more. Your questions here on Honor the Land. Zay, welcome in. Honor the Land, Big Play Sports Network, episode number 4. How are you feeling?
You know me. I'm feeling like $1 million. I'm feeling like $4 million would potentially to be $14 million. If you ask me, I've been on the Joe Flacco train for a long time, so you know I'm feeling good, man. How you feeling?
I'm great. I'm very, very excited. I'm excited to talk Flacco. This is something we both pounded the table for in different regards. I thought he could come back and be a journeyman. You just wanted him to come in and be the Joe Flacco we saw, 16 months ago?
Yep,
15 months ago for the number, I'll say it. But it is so awesome that he's back, and I think it's so good to see Cleveland uplifted. Like I sent a little text into Jack on the Big Factor saying like this is it reignited the city, and you can kind of feel it. You relived the hope from 2023. You at least have some semblance of an answer at the quarterback position. I know I was kind of anti bringing Kirk Cousins in. Kirk Cousins, that ship has now sailed, and you're going to get a rookie, just a matter of who. But it is so awesome they're bringing him back and bringing some type of hope to the city. Like this is the first time I've smiled in the offseason. This is great.
You know, I think back to the interview that I had with Greg Newsome and being in Juan Thornhill's chat on TikTok and just asking him about Joe Flacco and how they feel about him and what he brought to the locker room. And I just think about the style, like the confidence that he brought to that locker room. Like Juan Thornhill, he said he'll never forget the first day of practice. He was on scout team, and he was destroying the ones on defense. He just came in there and was throwing it. Greg Newsome's like, one thing Flacco said that he was going to do was come in here was sling it. And we saw that. So I think it's very comforting to know that the locker room will have a guy at the quarterback position that they can look to and be like, yeah, we got ourselves a baller for sure, guaranteed.
Do you think Myles Garrett knew that coming in? Do you think he knew that was the plan?
You know, we were just talking about this off the air, and I think so.
Yeah.
That smirk that he had with Andrew Siciliano, where he's like, he asked him straight up, do you know what they're going to do at the quarterback position? This was right after the Russell Wilson interview or meeting that they had. And he's like, yeah, I know. It's like, there's no way that they didn't have this. If anything, it's like looking at your cards, and it's like when you're waiting for Uno to throw that draw 4 out, wild card, it's like, okay, now's the time. Let's play it. So I think they knew that they wanted to go Joe Flacco. It was pretty much just a matter of time, like hopefully another guy that we're waiting to see re-signed.
Yeah, well, you can see I have it on the sweatshirt right here. Literally every day that goes by, I think we're going to be recording when the news breaks. Haven't seen anything yet. I don't know what is going on with this whole Nick Chubb thing. You saw the Instagram post, I assume, right?
Yep.
Obviously coming back from the foot injury, squatting 500 pounds, whatever. It's ridiculous. He's ridiculous. And, you know, we would probably be sitting here and lying to you if we thought that Nick Chubb's best days of football were ahead of him. Like, you could see it last year. He's not what he once was in its entirety, at least. But to think that guy can't come in and do the dirty work for you, there's no reason to believe Stefanski thinks this is going to be a workhorse-led backfield. Browns are probably going to take a rookie in the draft as well. Why not bring him back? It can't be a financial thing right now. The market for running backs this offseason, we saw guys like Najee Harris, is not what we thought it was going to be, and I think Najee Harris would be the first person to tell you that. J.K. Dobbins obviously hasn't signed yet, but I guess his contract will be very similar to that Najee Harris number. Javonte Williams not really getting paid a lot. I just don't know what's up. I don't know what the deal is, and I can assure you that every person in that locker room wants Nick Chubb back, regardless of the capacity he performs at on the field.
And more as the days go by, it feels like this is just a post-draft type of deal.
Yeah.
Like, as much as we want this before the draft, I think Nick Chubb is probably willing to hold out as well. There has to be some sort of conversation behind the scenes where it's like, Chubb, we want to bring you back, but we have to see how the draft plans out. Just for the simple fact that there are so many good running backs in this draft, you can't afford to miss out on that because you're doing that. Now, like you said, the money, obviously, it's not going to be a lot. I imagine it's incentive-based, kind of like the Joe Flacco thing.
Yes.
And as him coming in, being the workhorse like we've seen him in previous years, they have already steered away from that for year after year, every year. Every year, they're taking less and less snaps at the running back, rushing the ball, it is, because Kevin Stefanski and his offense have shown that they want to be an air-it-out offense. So running back by committee, obviously. And I like I said, I think this is a post-draft move for Nick Chubb.
Well, regardless of it's post-draft, pre-draft, whatever it is. I think we can agree that that offense with Joe Flacco, who can air it out, throwing to now David Njoku, Cedric Tillman, Jerry Jeudy, and potentially Travis Hunter could look really good. Really, really, really good. I am excited at the prospect of that. I'm sure everybody saw the comments Travis Hunter saying, I expect to play every snap, and if I don't, I'm not playing football anymore. Important to note that there was another report came out that said no team has like pushed back on Travis Hunter trying to play both sides of the ball. Teams are open to it. We talked about it last week. The Browns would definitely be open to it.
Of course.
But that prospect of that offense, maybe you bring in a guy like Harold Fannin Jr., Terrence Ferguson at the tight end position, your second tight end guy. Whatever you do at the running back position, I know I'm a big Caleb Johnson guy. We talked about the Ohio State running backs, Cam Scatterbo, Marion.
There's a lot.
If Joe Flacco can come in and distribute like he did a couple years ago, that offense is going to have some firepower. David Njoku averaged like 80 yards a game. Amari Cooper, when he was there as a number one, 108 yards per game. Like, that offense is going to have some firepower just based on the fact that Joe Flacco is not afraid to throw the ball down the field. Very similar to James Winston.
You know, I talked about it a couple shows ago where it was follow the Andrew Berry breadcrumbs. Maybe there's a reason why he told us that they view Travis Hunter more as a receiver because they knew that they were going to bring in Joe Flacco and they're setting themselves up for this high-powered offense because I think we all know Joe Flacco's 40. He's up there. It's a 1-year contract, so you're not right now. It's 1 year and done. So if we're hoping to get the same magic that we got back in 2023, he's gonna come out and he's gonna give us his best foot forward no matter what.
Yeah.
You talk about the Bowling Green tight end with David Njoku on two sides. You're getting Kevin Stefanski's infamous 12 personnel package back. You got Travis on one side, Jeudy on the other, Tillman or however you want to throw it around. We're talking nightmare on West 3rd Street or, you know what I mean? Like, not Elm Street. It's going to be a nightmare for DBs on the shore.
Nightmare at Huntington Bank Field, which is now officially written on the Brown Stadium, if anybody has not seen already on the socials. It does look really good. I drove by it this weekend. It said Bank Field. It said Ington Bank Field. It said Tington Bank Field. Now it finally says Huntington Bank Field. It was a week-long process, but it looks great. Shout out to everybody who put that up. But I'm with you. This is an offense that can provide firepower, and Nathan Zagura's talked about it a bunch. I've talked about it a bunch. This is a team defensively that has enough depth and you feel confident enough about with a draft pick or two, but you could roll them out right now and they'd be fine. I don't know if it would be that elite Browns defense that we saw 2 years ago, but you could roll them out right now and feel decent about it. Like, they're not going to actively lose you games. They're not going to force you to be in shootouts week after week. This is a defense that you could probably roll out with minimal resources in the draft and they'd be okay. You can really invest into this offense. And I think it's Harold Fannin Jr. or another tight end. I love Terrence Ferguson. Don't know where he's going to be available. It's a running back. I think it could be another offensive lineman too. We're not trading back for a tackle. I know people are saying that. We're not doing that. No, not happening. But resources in the draft. They have to be there. They will be there. And I think Andrew Berry is going to take big swings.
See, people get under my skin when they talk about our defense last year because I don't think they understand that, like, our defense was not the reason why we were losing games. You look at the scoreboard and sure, they were putting up a lot of points. But if you looked at the first half of games, second quarter of games, the defense was majority of the time doing their job until it was at that point where you're like, oh, offense is out there for another 3 and out, third consecutive 3 and out. I mean, eventually they're going to give up points. So like you said, this is a defense that is more than capable of doing what they need to do without having to add a bunch of pieces. And they just signed themselves another defensive end this past week, a former Detroit Lion third rounder.
Julian Okwara.
So it kind of gives you another follow the Andrew Berry breadcrumbs where they're not going to go where a lot of people want them to go at number 2, and that's Abdul Carter.
Yep.
So this seems like the first few picks are going to be heavily centered around offensive players, which I'm all for because I don't know how you expect to win games with 3 points, 7 points. I mean, we averaged 15 points for like the first 8 weeks of the season. I'm not trying to do that again because that is not fun football, and Bob doesn't get his beatings as well.
Yes, we need Bob to get beat, that's for sure. I will say, and we'll talk about this in the Q&A segment, I think there is a world where I know you want to trade 33 to get back in. I think there's a world where if they're sitting there and there's a safety they really like there, they're going to take them. That's the only route I can see a defensive player being taken, probably in the first 3 rounds. Maybe a defensive interior guy, maybe an inside defensive tack. But like, That's really the only place I can see it. I think you're going to go Travis Hunter at 2. I think you can maneuver 33. Maybe you try to get back in and take a quarterback. If you sit there, that's prime running back selection spot. 67, you got plenty of tight ends there. If you don't go running back at 33 and you trade back in, there'll be some other guys there. It's really hard to believe that they are not going to invest, I'd say 3 of their first 4 picks, if not all 4 of their first picks, in the offense.
I think the only way we see, like you said, I love the safety idea where if he's there, you take him because there's probably not a lot. But I think if they trade back from 2, they'll probably get something earlier in that second round where they could afford themselves to get a defensive guy. But other than that, it better be offense at 2 and 33 and maybe even the 3rd pick.
Yes, I'm with you. We will continue this discussion as well as Joe Flacco, Nick Chubb, and all of us Browns fans on the next segment of Never Sunny in Berea on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay, and we are entering our patented segment, Never Sunny in Berea, where we attribute weather reports to 3 very important people in the Browns world. We're going to expand it a little bit. We're moving outside the Browns building and doing in the Browns world, and there's no better way to expand than by starting with Browns fans. We are going to attribute a weather report to all of us as Browns fans right now amidst the Joe Flacco news, the Nick Chubb stuff, the NFL draft prep. Zay, weather report for Cleveland Browns fans on today, April 15th, tax day, 2025.
I think this is the dog days of summer. This is that miserable 90. You got some people like myself. I think Ohio's 90 is different. Like people like, oh, I want 90-degree weather in Ohio. I don't know if you really do because it gets pretty bad. Like I'm in the AC when it's 90, but I think it's the dog days. And what I mean by that is, we're at that point in time where you'll find a group of happy people, but you'll also be in that same boat where it's like, you know what? I'm tired of all of this off-season stuff. I'm tired of all of the speculation. Who's going to be the guy we draft? When's Nick Chubb going to get signed? And we're all just kind of waiting for that cool breeze to just swarm on in. But right now, I'm sweating. I'm hot. I just got out the shower. Why is it 90 degrees? And I'm looking at this and it's like, yay, congratulations. It's sunny. We got Joe Flacco. I'm happy that it's nice out. I'm glad it's not, snowing right now. But this is just getting a little bit out of hand. Let's get a cool breeze to come through and let's move forward. So I'm going to go dog days of Ohio weather, which is 90.
I like that. Which boat are you in? Are you in the happy or not happy boat?
I'm in the tired boat. I'm tired.
Okay.
I'm ready for May 1st to get here so we know what the draft is. I'm tired of all of the mock drafts and everyone having their opinions on this keyboard analyst saying Travis Hunter. No, Abdul's the guy. No, Shador's the guy. No, Tyler Shaw's the guy. Like, I'm just over it. So please get us to May 1st so we can actually move forward and then look into, the schedule and all that other stuff.
I like that. I hate to be like cliche and live in the moment, but I think it's like the weather right now. Like, I think this is the very end of winter, very early spring, where I know it's technically spring, but you're getting that last kind of gust of winter air, those last 30-degree days where you're feeling the off-season dread. Like you said, the keyboard warriors, ourselves included sometimes, are going at it saying, yeah, let's draft this guy. And at some point, you start to make up things or, present scenarios that would never happen in a million years. And we're just kind of sick of it. We're ready to move on to the next season. We're ready to move on to the spring weather. I don't know about you. I'm ready to move on to the draft. Get the schedule, figure some schedule stuff out, enjoy a nice month and a half of not worrying at least too much about the Browns, and then back to OTAs and training camp and things like that. We are in the point right now, I think at least, where we are just waiting for the nice day. We are waiting for draft day. It's a week into 9 days away. We're just waiting. We're waiting, and I'm sick of waiting.
The one that you just said is the one that I have for the next guy, which I'll bring him in.
Go ahead.
Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
I think Nick Chubb, we are at that time where it's the end of winter days in Cleveland. What does that mean again? I'm doing it specifically to Cleveland. What do we always think of when it's the end of winter? It's like, no, it's not. You think the winter's over, here comes a snowstorm. Yeah. And I think that's where Nick Chubb's at. It's like, we think Nick Chubb's going to come back, but he didn't get signed yet. Yeah. So it's like, it's kind of one of those things where until it happens, it hasn't happened yet. So I'm hoping that, like I said, post-draft, that's maybe when we get it done. But it's that time where it's like, that April, like kind of like right now,
Yeah,
where we had
yeah.
that 70-degree day yesterday, and now it's back 40 and windy, and it's like, what the heck's going on? Like, that's exactly where I feel like Nick Chubb is, because I think he's also waiting to find out if the sun's gonna come out in Cleveland or if it's not gonna never be sunny in Berea.
Yeah. It may never be sunny in Berea. Like you said, it's weird that Instagram post was on the same day as that 70-degree day, right? I don't know about you. I got out on the golf course yesterday.
Rub it in.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I didn't play that well for anybody watching, but I was out there. I did swing the clubs. It was great. But I'm with you. It's
You
a
Roy McIlroy'd
weird.
it? My bad.
No.
Roy McIlroy, little breakdown.
No breakdowns. Just I'm trying to who could I compare myself to in the Masters? Whoever's watching, any Masters aficionados, who is just like consistently below average in the Masters? You tell me, because that's who I was. I'm gonna put you on the spot, Zay, before I give you my weather report. May 1st, 2025, is Nick Chubb on the Cleveland Browns roster. So that's a week after the draft. May 1st, 2025, is Nick Chubb a Cleveland Brown?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. I like I said, I'm gonna stick with my gut, and post draft seems like the perfect time to get the job done. Knowing that, I think if they go I think it'll be a little bit more hard to say yes if they go running back at 33.
Okay.
Because if they go running back at 33, that means that they are obviously going to use him right away. Like, there's going to be no, let's see what he has. He's going to come in because that's first round for the running backs essentially in that area. So if they go 33 running back,
it's tough. It's tough to believe it.
Like, I can't see Nick Chubb being RB3.
I don't know if he would be. I don't know if RB3 exists in Stefanski's mind. I think everybody just does their own thing.
But that didn't work. See, the thing that scares me about that is you want your running back to kind of get a groove.
I agree.
We saw that last year with 1 week it was Deontay Foreman. He had a good game. Then the next week he took 3 snaps after that. And then Pierre Strong gets to go. And then Jerome Ford gets to go. And then you're just rotating these guys, and you're never going to really get the rhythm that you're looking for. Yeah. So unless they tell Nick Chubb, hey, you're not RB3, you're our goal line guy no matter. Maybe he takes over the Kareem Hunt role, but I think they love Jerome Ford enough to give him the respect that he's earned over the past year, especially this past year. I don't know why there's so much hate for Jerome Ford, but Jerome Ford performed last year.
Yes.
And I think he's earned the right to get carries, to be a focal point in the offense. The question is we know how much they love Pierre Strong. Do you let Pierre Strong go? Because that's what you would have to do if you want to bring back Chubb and take a guy at 33 or wherever the pick may be.
Yeah, it's interesting the special teams world we live in now, too, because Pierre Strong could be the 4th running back on a 53-man roster if you want to keep 6 receivers instead of 7, because kick returns, even more now with the rule changes, will be prioritized, and he was the kick returner last year. It's so fascinating because I don't know if they're ready to move up. They're not ready to give Jerome Ford less snaps.
Right.
And I don't think they should. I think we can agree Jerome Ford should have a more prominent role in the offense. I think we can also agree workhorses, whether we think they should or not, probably don't exist in that offense. But to me, a guy like Travion Henderson, if that's the route they go, size-wise, I don't know if he truly could be the 25 touch per game guy. I would love it if he is. He has the unbelievable explosive ability to do it. But you treat him like, I don't want to compare him to Jahmyr Gibbs because I think Jahmyr Gibbs is just like different level. But a guy like that who, gets 15 touches a game, doesn't have to come in and get the tough yards on the goal line, can stretch outside the tackles instead of staying in, things like that. If you get a guy like that, you put Jerome Ford in a different role and have Nick Chubb be the goal line guy, or have Nick Chubb, spell it out a little bit in terms of giving guys breaks. I think that's the unfortunate reality we're at, but I do think there's a world where he comes back. Very quickly, my weather report for him, because I didn't give it to him, is stormy. I think it's a middle summer thunderstorm. I think that Instagram post kind of stirred things up a little bit. That was the first lightning strike. Don't know what's coming. Don't know how quickly it's going to get nice, but I think that's where we're at. I think it's a thunderstorm with Nick Chubb. I think May 1st, I don't think he's on the roster. Not he's somewhere else, but I think it's still going on. But last person, Joe Flacco, and I am so glad that this was not right when we hopped off the air last Tuesday, but it honestly was. Right. It wasn't far after. Like Joe Flacco's a Cleveland Brown. That's great. I think it's very sunny. I think it's sunny in Berea with Joe Flacco right now, regardless of how he performs on the field. Like, you're happy. Outside of the Myles Garrett contract extension, there was no real reason this offseason to be like, yeah, the Browns are back. And even if you don't think they're fully back with Joe Flacco,
we're back.
There's some
hope
extent.
is back.
There is hope. This is the most hope I felt in Cleveland since he was there, whatever, 16, 15 months ago. What do you think for Joe Flacco? Because I do think it's sunny.
I think it's that first week of summer.
Yeah.
It's like you get out of school. Yes, it's summertime. I'm super excited. And then comes right after that, it's like, I'm kind of bored.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm at that spot again. It was like, yeah, it was fun. I'm still hoorahing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm looking at Joe Flacco jerseys, trying to figure out what I'm going to do. Shout out to, I can't remember what his tag is, but he does the drawings for Big Play. He says he's going to send over a shirt. So shout out to my mans for getting that over. Can't wait to get that. But then it's like, okay, can we get to the draft?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So I'm in that first week of summer right now. I'm still living in the moment, but I know that boredom is going to kick in until the draft comes.
Yeah. I wonder how much that plus the post-draft hype of whoever they draft, wherever they go, the roster construction will last. Because I think that Flacco hope is enough to get like that group of people that you just put in a bucket where they are excited about the summer weather. They love Joe Flacco. They're excited the direction of this team. They're going to watch the Browns draft Travis Hunter or two and be even more excited. I just
Journey beforehand. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I wonder how long that can last, though.
Oh, it's going to. You know why it's going to last? Because we didn't get Joe Flacco during training camp.
True,
this
yeah.
Training camp is going to be Baker Mayfield-esque in terms of excitement, in terms of hype. I remember when Baker Mayfield, that next training camp, this was actually when I got my start as Chef Zay, when I went to 14 of the 16 training camps. I have never seen anything like that atmosphere of training camp. We're talking 5,000 plus fans to watch a practice for 2 hours in 80-degree weather. I mean, it was some of the, and this was every single practice. It wasn't just the opening day of training camp. Every single practice, 5,000 plus fans.
Wow.
It was incredible. So knowing what Joe Flacco did in 2023, the hope that we have as a fan base, Travis Hunter potentially being in the building.
Could you imagine both Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders?
They're going to have to give Hard Knocks to the Browns. That's how much it's must-watch TV. It's going to be must-watch TV. So I could not be more excited for this training camp. I think this is going to be the best training camp since that 2019 season with Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, and all those boys. I'm getting amped up just thinking about it, man.
Yeah, the Hard Knocks thing is interesting. I want you to call your shot. You think the Browns will get Hard Knocks if they draft both Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter?
They can't.
Do you think if they just draft one, they'd still get it, or is there one they'd prefer over the other?
I think Shedeur would be the big hype.
Okay.
I think Travis Hunter, he obviously his name holds weight. I think it's fun, but he's not as much of a personality as Shedeur. I don't know. I just think the dollar signs would be bigger with Shedeur.
Yes.
But if they get both, they're canceling whoever they had.
They might.
And you're talking Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Shedeur, and Travis. Kenny Pickett will somehow have a featured special in there.
Should.
And it will get fans riled up to a T. I already see it now. There's going to be a fan base. There's going to be a part of the fan base that is so ready to see Kenny Pickett. And I'm like, yeah, we're back. We're back to Cleveland Browns football.
I think I might be part of that fan base. I'm not going to lie to you. Whether right or wrong. Very excited. Joe Flacco coming back. Nick Chubb, obviously, all that stuff going on. We have our top 5 list coming up for you guys, but it's, I guess, minimally Browns related. Right after we get back, top 5 Browns game day spots. Not necessarily to watch a game, but places you got to go on game day. Up next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. We have a very special top 5 list for you today. Like I said, not exclusively Browns related, but top 5 game day spots for the Cleveland Browns. Just places you got to go, whether it's to watch a game, get a bite to eat, just to stop by. Game day spots for the Cleveland Browns. Do you have any honorable mentions before we get into the top 5? Because I do.
Well, I was, when I made this list, I was thinking of where we're watching the game mixed with that. So I don't know if I have 5 now, but my honorable mention is going to be home. There's no better place to watch a game than at home. I get the atmosphere being at the stadium. It's nice and all, but I just feel like when I'm at the stadium, I'm missing out on a certain element of the game. Like the replays, the commentary a little bit, like just that you don't feel like you have to be like laser locked in on the game when you're at the stadium. And when you're 3 sheets to the wind, that's kind of hard because you're one end you're like trying not to get that spinny feeling, and then on the other end you're ready to cheer your brains out, but then you throw a touchdown on the first play, and then you go fumble on the kickoff, and then all hell breaks loose against the Giants. So, there's always that aspect. And then you're sitting there for 3 quarters like, I'm ready to go home, but you're a diehard, so you can't do that. So my honorable mention is home. No better place to watch a game than home.
I like that. I also have home or a couch as my honorable mention. I think like just sitting and watching a game, yes, very few places compare. I'm sure a lot of people would rather go there than to the stadium, than to a bar. But a couple establishments, I guess, I do want to give a shout out to on my honorable mention list. Dunkin' in the morning is a must for me. Have to.
Dunkin' Donuts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have to. That fires me up any day.
You're a coffee guy.
I am a coffee guy.
Big coffee guy.
See it over here. I got some right here.
Okay. All black too.
Good.
You're crazy. I need like 18 packs of sugar.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, it tastes better with sugar. But I've gotten used to it at this point. Dunkin' in the morning fires me up. I think like if you want to go watch a game somewhere, outside if the weather's nice, welcome to the farm and the flats is great. Love sitting out there. Plenty of TVs outside. I think the TV placement could be a little better, but TVs outside, that is the best spot, especially when the London games are on. If you're going early in the morning, love it. Dive bars are great atmosphere down there as well. But I'm going to kick it off with my number 5. I don't know if you've had the wings at Around the Corner, but Around the Corner, Lakewood, Ohio, probably the best spot to watch Thursday night football, regardless of who's playing, because of 60-cent wings, whatever it is. But a great atmosphere, outside patio, food is unbelievable. That takes my number 5 spot. I think food is probably the most important factor in terms of game day, so I'm going to put Around the Corner at 5.
Well, see, again, this is kind of like a tailgate thing in my list is outside the stadium. I'll go there. Like they have that little strip where they always have like a little stage. They've got a couple vendors up there. Just it's all the environment is that we're at the stadium. You know what I mean? So I obviously you can't watch the game outside the stadium. But in terms of before you get into the game starting, outside the stadium is a pretty cool atmosphere, especially if you have younger kids. There's a lot of stuff to do for the kids there. So at my last spot, I'll go outside the stadium.
What do you have right above it then?
We're going to go under the bridge / the pit.
Yeah, I like that.
Right when you come across the bridge, there's that one little corner spot that I believe they have some sort of tailgate where you can purchase a wristband or something and get food and drinks.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
And then I know right under that is called the pit, I believe. I personally haven't been to the pit, but shout out to the what's their thing? The Knackers? The Browns? It's Browns. What is it? Not the Backers.
I don't know.
It's going to make me upset that I cannot remember it. But there's a huge tailgate that takes place there. And I hear nothing but good things. If I'm not going to the Muni lot this year, I have to go check out the pit. So make sure you guys check that out because I hear nothing but great things about it.
What makes a good tailgate for you? Because my next 2 are tailgate related, I guess. But I'm curious, what makes a good Browns tailgate for you?
The energy. You can just feel the energy. You know, I think back to last year, and this was my first full year of actually getting to experience the tailgate other than opening day. If you've never experienced opening day downtown Cleveland,
dude,
do yourself a service. There is no better environment. I think the only thing that could probably top that is them winning a game in the playoffs or something like
at home.
It's electric on opening day, but you can feel it. If you feel it when you walk out, and I can't really put it into words, but you just know it's game day. You smell the food. You can hear the vibes. Like you can almost see the vibes. Like the energy is the biggest thing for a tailgate.
I love that. I'm with you. And I may get a little bit of hate for it, but I have Muni Lot at number 4 on my list.
Oh.
I know. And maybe it's just because of, the recent memories that I have of last year. Opening day was unreal. Like I don't know if you remember, it was around the RV was packed. Donovan Mitchell 10 yards away from us playing cornhole. Like everybody and their mother was there.
Miles Garrett was even there.
And then it was a different type of energy.
I got there the day before. Saturday day. I think I got there at 2:30 on Saturday, and there were already 27 cars ahead of me.
Yeah, that's right. I do remember you going down there early. And I think like the week 3, the Giants game was solid, right? Because there was still a little hope. And then as time went on, because you lose on the road to Vegas, you lose on the road to Philly, Washington, like the Muni lot tapered off last year. I'm gonna be real with you guys. It kind of did. It kind of did.
I'll never forget it, bro. I'm standing outside the RV and I'm just like, it's 12 o'clock and there are so many parking spots. Like I could hear people having conversations. I'm like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
And I didn't end up going to the Kansas City tailgate, but I heard that was a ghost town.
Wow. And my number one, the reason I have it at number one is because it was packed for that Kansas City game.
Okay.
That's why I got it number one. So I'll save that for later, but I have Muni Lot at 4. I have your RV at 3. I got Zay's RV at 3 just because I think that is the encapsulation of Browns fandom. If you guys have not seen the videos or seen the streams in there, the inside looks like a Browns helmet.
Yeah.
It is a Browns helmet in there. Obviously, you stream in there. We've done some shows in there. It's great, and I think that's the encapsulation of everything. You meet a lot of people there. I think stopping there as a Browns fan, regardless of if you're a diehard, if you're just getting into the fandom, if you have kit, like that will get you excited for the game. Seeing that type of passion, seeing that type of commitment to the Cleveland Browns will get you excited for the game. So I have that at 3.
All right, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I know they just recently canceled it, but before they did cancel it, West 6.
Yeah. I don't have it on there because they canceled it.
Yeah, I mean, whether it was Barley House or wherever, West 6 was. I don't think I've actually ever been to it on there, but I've seen videos. I've hear about it, and you just know if it's not Muni Lot, which, spoiler alert, that's my number one.
Yeah.
If it wasn't that, you're at West 6. So hopefully they get West 6 back because it's kind of like a staple in its own. It's kind of sad to see that, but what do you got?
My number 2 is the stadium. Watching a game at the stadium. I think that, I don't know why, but it's almost like watching a game in a stadium gets a bad rap. Like, if you're at a stadium for an electric game, it is 100 times better than sitting at home. I understand the whole thing, like, the travel and the paying for the ticket, all that stuff, and it's very, very valid. But, like, if you told me that you could have the opportunity to go to a game in a stadium or sit at home, same price, same logistics, I think most people would choose stadium every single time because of the atmosphere. If you're rooting for a team you're passionate about, if you're playing a team that's good, like I go back to that Niners game 2 years ago, which is probably one of my favorite sports events I've ever been to. It was electric, and the Browns rolled out PJ Walker. Like, I think you have to prioritize, if you're able to, obviously, going to a stadium and feeling that energy, because there's nothing like that energy.
You know what could enhance that a little bit more?
I'm curious now.
I don't know. It's going to be one of those things where it's one side of the fence or the other. I think I was always team downtown. I think a dome in Cleveland may actually do numbers. Like,
so is that your number 2?
No.
Okay.
I'm not
I was
going to
say.
But I think, like, knowing how crazy our fans get and knowing that there are... Now, don't get me wrong. I know that I was at downtown in the parking lot doing my live stream during the snow globe. Yeah. And the atmosphere when those fans were coming back was crazy. You're going to always, always, always have those groups of fans. But there are also a lot of fans that don't want to sit in that cold and don't want to sit through that rain and sit all that stuff. You're telling Browns fans that they can get blacked out drunk and then go sit in a controlled climate environment? It is going to be absolute mayhem, especially with all of the stuff that they're probably going to have to offer. They're going to make that thing it's going to be a top tier.
It's going to be unreal.
So I think that could definitely be up there. Home was my 5th, so I'm already on 1. So I'll let you go ahead and do your number 2 because
No, that was my number 2. So home was your 5. So move everything up. Your number 1.
My number 1, Muni Lot and the Crockpot on Wheels. I mean, first off, I have to give a huge shout out to the people who support the Crockpot on Wheels and Chef Zay and everything that I do. I knew I had crazy fans. I knew I had a lot of supporters, but I didn't truly know how heavy that was until week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. I mean, I have taken at minimum 200 pictures with people who are just like, bro, I love your stuff. I had people that were Steelers fans come and find me. I've had, I mean, all type of people, old, young, female, male. It is unbelievable to know the amount of support that I have and just you guys wanting to come and stop by. And I'm hoping this year we have some things a little bit different to where it's more of a come to the tailgate, hang out for the entire time, and then go to the stadium. Because this past year was more so just like, oh, we got to stop by because I didn't have anything major going on. So Muni Lot as a whole, man, if you've never been to the Muni Lot, like, can you even really call yourself a true Browns fan? Like, I'm just being honest. Like, you have to at least experience at least once. So that's my number one all day.
I will say, if the Muni Lot at least was always like it was at the beginning of the season, it would be higher on mine. But you mentioned that place being a ghost town for the Chiefs game. One place that I have never been for a Browns game, pre-Browns game, after a Browns game, where it's a ghost town, is Map Room.
Where is that?
Right on West 9th, right as you're walking down to the stadium, right on West 9th. I'll tell you what, best pizza in Cleveland by far, and I think most people watching who've had their pizza would agree. That place was shoulder to shoulder pre-Kansas City Chiefs game. That place was shoulder to shoulder for the playoff game. That place has been shoulder to shoulder for almost any major Ohio sporting event. Like, I even remember watching the national championship game there. We had to get there an hour and a half early to get a table. It is electric in there. And maybe I'm a little biased because, like I said, I do tend to prioritize food a little bit. I really do. I do. They have great food there. But the atmosphere there, I have never been there pre-game, during a game, or post-game especially. If you're going after a Browns game, you're waiting for traffic to clear, you're waiting for Ubers to get cheaper, that is the place to go. That is hands down my number one. And I think if I can get there on every Browns game day, whether it's pre, during, or post, I will move forward.
Well, I've never been there, so we're going to have to take a show there and see what it's like. So, Map Room, you trying to collab up?
Map Room.
Let us know, because I ain't never been. He hyping y'all up. Y'all going to have to, the chef need to see what y'all cooking.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what they cook is good stuff. But we are curious. Let us know your Browns game day stop essentials, whether it's something we said, a restaurant you want us to try. As you guys know, we're still going on our little burger tour this summer, so make sure you comment any type of place you want us to check out or any stop that we forgot that we have to get to on a Browns game day. We'll move into the next segment, Around the Land, answering your questions from the socials. We got 4 really good questions today. Next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Welcome back into Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. Welcome to Around the Land, where we answer all of your questions from social media, whether it's on X, Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. It's the same handle on all of them, at Honor the Land, exactly like the show name. So make sure you're locked in on there. Every Monday before the show, we'll put out a tweet, out a post, out a story, whatever, asking you for your questions. We got 4 today, and we're going to kick it off with one of our fellow Big Play members, the Big Factor, Jack O'Rourke, asking us which Notre Dame player is most likely to be a Brown. And Jack, I know you're watching. I think this is a little bit of a setup, but here's what we're going to do. Not Riley Leonard. We are not going to talk Riley Leonard. I will let you go first, Zay. Who from the University of Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, is most likely to put on a Browns helmet next year?
So we have 2 positions of need. And one of them I'm going to go fellow. He's from Notre Dame. JOK is a linebacker, so I'm going in the linebacker spot.
Ooh, I like that.
Jack Kaiser.
Okay.
Now, I don't know too much about him, but I was looking through his little profile and stuff. I'll read you off some of his strengths a little bit. Exceptional tackling technique. Browns desperately need guys that can tackle and wrap up and don't need coaching on how to tackle. Diagnoses the run plays with a veteran-like savviness, something that I don't want to say the Browns struggled with, but it's been one of their bigger weaknesses as of late. Everything was a weakness last year.
No, but they couldn't tackle.
Yeah,
so we'll call a spade a spade.
Processes complex offenses. We're talking about a guy who's been at Notre Dame for his entire college career. So he understands the game of football, and it's just I'm so big on the insurance at the linebacker position just because we don't know what's going on with JOK. So I'm gonna go Jack Kaiser.
That's a good one. I like Jack Kaiser. I think we desperately need some linebacker help, some linebacker depth as well. And I think later on in the draft, that's the big thing, because Jack Kaiser will not be priority 1, 2, maybe even 3 for the Browns. So if you're like us, really, when you know offense is a priority and you don't even want to look at defense the first few picks, I think that's the best answer. I got a weird feeling, though, guys. I know I have been saying all offseason that it's offense your first 3 picks. It could be offense your first 5, and I wouldn't even bat an eye. I know there's so many rumors about them trading back in. I know there's so many rumors about them taking a running back at 33, maybe a quarterback at 33. Every single year, that early 30 spot is a prime spot to pick safety. And I like Xavier Watts a lot. He's a guy who can do a lot of different things. He can play in the box. He can defend the middle of the field. He can even come inside and play in the slot if you need it. So I'm looking at Xavier Watts as a guy who, number one, could provide some depth in the safety room. He could start for all I care. I'll be real. He could. But can provide some depth at the safety room, can really help stop up that run, and I think would just be a great compliment to Grant Delpit. I do wonder, I like Grant Delpit, and I think you can agree with me a little more as a box guy, somebody coming down to help in the run rather than him being like a center fielder. And I think the Browns would be better off finding a safety that is a true center fielder. But I think Xavier Watts can do a lot of different things, and I am fascinated to see if the Browns really feel confident in Ronnie Hickman, if the Browns really feel confident in the defense they have right now in the secondary, and wild card here that we just like continually overlook. Like, they draft Travis Hunter too. He's going to play defense too. That is a very interesting thing here. But if the Browns, don't go offense with those first 3 picks, I think Xavier Watts could be a pick.
Well, I'll add to your thing because I have his scouting report strengths right here as well. You talk about a guy who could play that center field. His first one is exceptional play recognition, born from an offensive background. Routinely jumps routes before quarterbacks can process their reads.
Love it.
That sounds like Ed Reed.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to say he's Ed Reed, but somebody who I know, who Browns fans know oh so well, is Ed Reed, and that man continuously was jumping routes. Nasty close bursts to the football, especially when playing downhill. Shows serious, this is what it says, shows serious dog in coverage situations, refusing to concede position and battling through contact at the catch point. That sounds like a Schwartz all day.
Yeah.
Like that, you're talking about a guy who's going. I mean, pair him up with Grant Delpit, who's another guy who's a dog when it comes to stuff. Not letting. I mean, we talking about little Derrick Henry. It could be nasty. I may be for some Xavier Watts. And shout out, you got a good name, bro. That's mine.
That is true. That is true. So that's where we're at in the Notre Dame world. But I'll be real with you, Zay. I don't think this would be a Browns off-season show if we did not at least devote one question to quarterback. And we have a question here from Johnny Dog 15. Who starts week 1? Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, or a rookie? And this is just week 1. We already did our little behind the scenes, how many games we think each quarterback's going to play. But like week 1, who do you think is most likely to start? Do you think it's a rookie?
No, I don't. I think that's,
I don't either.
That's sailed.
Okay.
With Joe Flacco coming in, that's sailed. I'm saying Joe Flacco. I'm sticking with it. I think Joe Flacco is going to find the magic again. But I am a little intrigued with this Kenny Pickett thing, man. He's got those comments where he's talking about, I didn't come here not to start or whatever the case may be. Like, he seems very confident. And before Joe Flacco signed on the dotted line, we saw Kevin Stefanski kind of he loves him some Kenny Pickett, it sounds like.
That's so weird to say, but
I'm anxious to see a world in a training camp and just a process of how they evaluate this position this offseason, because on one end, we go back to the Myles Garrett comments like we talked about earlier, him having an idea of who the quarterback may be, how the players would gel and kind of take to knowing that if Kenny Pickett was going to strap up week 1, would that cause a divide in the locker room, something that you don't really want? I don't know if I particularly see a world where Kenny Pickett can outright win the job. And if he does that, what does that look like? How does he? You have to convince me on how he could win the job week 1, because right now I think it's Flacco's job.
Yeah, I think you and a lot of people would expect me to be a dissenting opinion here, but I'm with you. I think it's Flacco. Like, I think before Flacco coming in, like you said, it was weird. It would have been a battle between, we both thought Pickett, Kirk Cousins, and probably a rookie, regardless of who the rookie is. I'd be shocked unless a rookie came in and made a huge impact in training camp and Kevin Stefanski was like, we cannot bench this guy. I'd be shocked if a rookie started, but familiarity in the offense, familiarity with the pass catchers that you have, I think it has to be Joe Flacco. Like, I think it may be an even darker spot for Browns fans than it's been if you got Joe Flacco on the roster and you start Kenny Pickett over, right?
Let's play hypothetical. Let's say the Browns ended up with Cam Ward. Would he win the starting job over Joe Flacco? I think that would be the big question. I think Shador would be a waiting game. But knowing what Cam Ward brings, knowing the potential, knowing everything that's surrounding him, would he come in and outright win the job week 1? Because here's what I'm thinking about it. I could see a world where he would have.
Yeah.
But then fans would be like, he'll have a couple bad games, and then you're going right to Joe Flacco, and then it's like, oh well, Cam Ward's ruined, and now you're out your first overall pick. So I ask you, like, obviously this is hypothetical. He's more than likely 90% going to the Titans, but let's just say he did.
I think so.
Would he have outbeat Flacco?
Yeah, I just think you look at what Stefanski's done in the past, right? Like questions about Watson coming back. His first year on the Browns when he played the second half of the season, like you were at least in a decent rhythm with what you had with Jacoby Brissett, but you're like, no upside, Watson go. Going into last season, so last off season before this one, you could bring Flacco back with what you got, you know what you have, or you lean into Watson. And again, this could have been a money thing rather than a true upside thing with Watson. I think both were there. I think we can be real, but Stefanski was like, you know what, let's do Watson. Now, again, could have been
though.
Like.
I think the only reason why they didn't bring back Joe Flacco was because they were scared of the PR nightmare, and they did everything they could for Deshaun Watson. Because I think everyone in that locker room wanted Joe Flacco.
I think so too.
So like, why would it couldn't have been just the money? I think they were terrified that Watson would come out. So let's go back to another hypothetical. We started out the season terrible. We beat Jacksonville, and then you lose to the Giants. You lose to everyone else after that. How early would we have saw Joe Flacco if he was on the team?
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? So I don't think it was anything other than we can't have this on our hands.
Interesting. So maybe you are right then. Maybe it's not an upside thing, and it was more of a, we paid all this money for Watson. We got to start him. Maybe somebody above Stefanski too. I think we all can kind of understand that's a real possibility. Yes, exactly. But I would say yes. Would you think Ward would start? It's weird because
the Brown in me says yes.
Yeah.
But the realism and knowing that I think this is truly the hit or miss season for Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry. Now, Andrew Berry, I think, has a little bit longer leash, but I think Kevin Stefanski has no choice but to get this right. And does he want to put all his confidence into a rookie, or does he want to go with somebody who's thrived in the best in his offense the best, and Joe Flacco? So I don't know. I think Joe Flacco would have to lose the job.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good way to put it. Joe Flacco would have to lose the job. Somebody who we've talked about, I don't want to say losing a job, but potentially being on the move before is Greg Newsome. And we have another question here from Brick9401. Should the Browns trade Greg Newsome and some picks to move back into the first? I think the reality of moving back into the first is it would take either multiple picks or multiple day two picks from this year and next year, or it would take less picks in a player. If the Browns tried to trade a player, it doesn't even have to be Greg Newsome, Wyatt Teller, whoever it may be, would you feel okay with that if it meant trading up for Shedeur Sanders?
If it meant Shedeur, maybe, but I don't think they're moving on from Newsome.
I don't either.
I think getting the insight from Newsome of why they particularly moved him into the slot, for the simple fact that they love having Emerson, Newsome, and Ward out there all together. I think that's a big, focal point and staple of that defense. And I also think if they go Travis Hunter, they're definitely not trading Newsome, because you're going to go ahead and eat the $13 million, let Greg Newsome go out there and perform and do what he needs to do, and then you're just going to seamlessly fill that spot with Travis Hunter next year. So
yeah, that's a good point.
You get to go all in this year with a defense who's already done it, with a secondary who's been there. You got Myles Garrett back. You got all these pieces that you need to be great on defense there. And a lot of people are still down on Emerson and such, but I still think that had to do with the offense. And then next year will be that conversation of, do you sign Newsome back, or do you just let Travis Hunter take that spot and fill in so that way he can play the packages better? Because Martin Emerson is going to be due for a contract coming up soon as well.
That's a good point.
I don't think they trade Newsome, and if they do, it's probably up to get Shedeur, because he would be a great piece to go up there. Expiring contract, you're going to get yourself a starting corner. It would make all the sense in the world. I think
if somebody were to get traded, if it were to take a player, it would probably be Greg Newsome. But here's my thing. I don't think it's going to take a player to get up there. I don't
either.
I talked about the Jameson Williams trade last week. It took a pretty big leap from round 3 to round 2 when you're trading, but just a couple extra picks. I don't think it's as far as people think it is. Now, I'll be real. I don't know if Shedeur is falling out of the top 10. I think New Orleans at 9 is a real possibility for Shedeur, just getting taken there, and this whole hypothetical, everybody playing together, is just off the board within the first hour of the draft. That could totally happen if we're being real. But I think if he falls, I think it's the right thing to do to trade up. even if they really like a guy, I don't know if they trade up in the first round and get Jalen Milroe, but even if they really like another quarterback and they were to trade up, I don't think it's going to take a player. And I think we're in agreement here. The Browns roster as it is right now is not by any means a 3-win roster. I think it's better than that. I think it right now could be a slightly below 500 roster. You do well in this draft, it goes slightly above. Like, that's the reality of it. And I don't think they want to move on from pieces that have helped in the past. I also think there's a weird world where, as we're being honest, that DB room has been really beat up the past couple years. I think there's a world because of how much man they play, how much sub-package stuff Jim Schwartz throws out there, that you almost need 4 corners. You almost need Ward, Emerson, Greg Newsome, and Travis Hunter.
I think it also has to play into the draft that if he does get traded, it'll probably be on draft night. I think that's 100% a possibility, just for the simple fact that, again, I go back to the follow the Andrew Berry breadcrumbs. The best thing that he does is find secondary talent late in the draft.
Yeah.
And if there's a guy who is projected to go in the 2nd round and he's there in the 3rd round, that's when you should probably open the door and have your eyes looking on a potential Greg Newsome trade. Because if they got a guy rated high up in there and he falls to that third round, I guarantee you that Andrew Berry will take him a corner with that 3rd pick and then not be an offensive guy. Because that's the one thing that he's done it all the time. I mean, I don't know what it is with him and cornerbacks, but he can pick
he can identify talent.
or a secondary player late in the draft. So,
absolutely.
Or early mid-draft, I should say.
But we're in agreement here, like, walking into OTA's training camp, Greg Newsome on the roster. I think he is.
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere.
Okay. Good. As long as we're in agreement there. We will finish up with the topic of discussion for, I don't even know, until Nick Chubb gets signed. You can see the sweatshirt again, Nick Chubb. Like, are the Browns signing him back? We need a pulse check here on all of us. Are the Browns signing him back? Shout out to Mike_N. Are they bringing him back? Like,
yeah.
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say is yes. I just think until I see it, I'm going to manifest it, and I'm going to continue to speak. I talked Joe Flacco into coming back. So I'm going to continue to talk in this Nick Chubb to come back. Just let the man retire a Brown. I've never seen a player other than Joe Thomas willingly go out his way to do everything he can to stay in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And I think you cannot tell me that there is not a team out there that would not have given Nick Chubb a 1-year, 6, 7, 8, something $1 million contract.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't believe that. So until I see him not signed as a Cleveland Brown, I'm riding it. Yes. Pause.
I agree with you. I think he is a Brown. We set that May 1st date. You said before, I think it's going to be after. But we saw the Instagram post. What did you think of the caption? Did you make anything in the caption? I'll ask you that, because I think we can always run with Instagram captions. I run with tweets all the time. What did you make of the caption?
The caption is my favorite thing that I saw, which is people want to write this as the ending, but it's just the beginning. I want to know what that means.
What does that mean?
Because if there's one person that can do something that we haven't seen since Adrian Peterson and resurrect his career and go on to have this amazing season, even if it's just for one season.
Yeah.
It's Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
We haven't seen anything like that since Adrian Peterson. And that was before technology was the way it was and the stigma behind ACL injuries being career ending. He broke that narrative essentially. So if there's anybody who can come back from multiple knee injuries, a foot broken and all of that stuff, it's Nick Chubb. So I want to see come back NC 2-4.
I like that. I'm with you. And I think the entirety of this segment, everybody needs to take a deep breath. Week 1, probably going to be Joe Flacco. Greg Newsome, probably going to be on the roster. Nick Chubb, probably going to be on the roster. I think we are peak silly draft season right now. And hand up, I've done it too, presenting scenarios that may not happen. But I think everybody needs to take a deep breath. We'll wrap up the episode next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Infinity, luxury experiences for those who dare to be different.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. We are going to wrap up here. We'll give our 2 cents on the Browns at the very end, but we got to talk about everything else going on in Cleveland because Cleveland Cavaliers, the 1 seed right now, are waiting for their opponent. Depending on when you're watching this, but Tuesday night, the 7 seed will be decided between the Magic and the Hawks. The winner will play the Celtics. Then the loser of that game plays the winner of Miami-Chicago for the Cavs matchup. Now, I think the Magic are going to win tonight, Tuesday, and wind up playing Boston. But we put it out on the socials. I'm curious. Who is the team you don't want to see? Is there a team you don't want to see?
Yeah, but not for the reasons that people may think. I don't want to see the Magic again in the first round. I'm so sick of Magic Cavs. I'm so sick of Franz Wagner and the Wagner Bros. I'm so sick of Pablo Bencaro. I'm sick of all of them.
Yeah.
Like, give me somebody different. Now, I will say, seeing Trae Young, I got to see Trae Young break our hearts a couple times. I think I was actually in the playoff game or the play-in tournament when they were here and they beat us that year. It's just something about Trae Young when he comes into Cleveland. I don't know what we did to him, but he turns into Steph Curry.
Yeah, he does.
Whenever he plays against the Cavs. But like Tristan Thompson said, it don't really matter who they play. There's no way that they should be losing, especially after the season that they just had. I think these boys are locked in. I think when you talk about teams and how they progress, it's very Boston Celtic like, and I think you can know that being from Boston and how Boston came through losing in each step of the way, watching their players grow into the players that they are. It's a little bit different, obviously, with Donovan Mitchell, but you've watched Darius Garland grown into the clutchest player in the NBA right now. You've watched Evan Mobley take step after step after step every single year. Donovan Mitchell hasn't had to be Superman every single time because you got guys like Ty Jerome, DeAndre Hunter, obviously the addition that they brought in and how he's contributed. I just think this team is in a very different space. And I think the only thing on their mind is Eastern Conference Finals or bust. Yeah. Like anything below that is a failure to the season and nothing else matters. They, at minimum, have to get to the Eastern Conference. So as long as we don't see the Magic so we don't have to sweep them, gentlemen sweep, I'm cool.
Yeah, I think the Magic are the best team. I watched it last year when the Hawks, I think it was last year, when the Hawks played the Celtics either last year or 2 years ago. Trae Young just extends series. So it's a matter of who the Cavs can beat the quickest, not like who, if they can beat they're going to beat whoever they play. I think it's going to be Atlanta, but I think Atlanta can extend that series to 6 games, which is, again, like the last thing you want to see if you are a Cavs fan. Like,
you know, Niang coming back to the land.
That would be
tearing it up.
a George's Niang and Karis LeVert revenge series would be.
Oh man!
Oh my God! Could you imagine if they took one of those first 2 games at home? If the Hawks did,
I could, because Karis LeVert, they were kind of upset. Like,
I would be too.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I get it, but it worked out. You know what I mean? But I could totally see a game where we forget Karis LeVert was a prime
he's good
scorer.
Yeah.
Like he was putting up 40. Wasn't it the bubble series or something like that?
Yeah.
He was putting up 40 points. Like, dude can ball. So do I think they're going to do it against us? No, but there's a world where we're looking and we're like, oh my gosh, George Niang has 20.
Yep.
Karis LeVert has 20 and 5 and 8. And it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Trae Young's 20 and 20. Like, nah, I'd rather not see Atlanta. I don't want to see either. I just want to get past the first round, honestly.
Yeah.
Give me Boston.
Yeah. And that, honestly, I think we're on the same page. That's probably what it's going to be, but don't want to jinx anything. You got to beat the teams in front of you. Team that has picked up a little bit, Cleveland Guardians, now 8-7 going on the road, depending on when you're seeing this, but tonight, Tuesday, to Baltimore. They win the series against the White Sox. They win the series against the Royals. They're playing better. They're starting to figure it out. The bats are starting to pop a little bit. I know Stephen Kwan had a great game a couple games ago. I was at that one. It was awesome to see. It was cool to see.
And your series ended quick.
My series ended
30
quick.
Games.
Yeah, if you guys have not seen the series, make sure you check it out. I think the next thing we're gonna run into is going to a game until we see multiple home runs in the first 3 innings.
Was the one
Yeah.
I said back to back.
It's going to be multiple home runs, but like I said, we have like 5 more lined up, so we're going to do plenty of that stuff. But
I'm going to have to go to one of those.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Very excited for that. But the Guardians keep rolling on. Another thing I do want to talk about before we get out, I don't know if you saw, Colorado spring game, they're retiring Travis Hunter's number 12 and Shedeur Sanders number 2. And I've been seeing a lot of backlash saying Travis Hunter deserves it, Shedeur Sanders doesn't. I want to ask you, if Shedeur Sanders is not there the last 2 years, does that program turn around like it does? Because if we're all being honest with each other, That was a complete 180 for that program.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it was, Coach Prime, and he will get his flowers. He'll get some type of banner, plaque, statue, whatever. He's going to get his. But I don't know if that turnaround happens without Shedeur Sanders. And if you're glorifying that turnaround, you have to glorify him.
I can see both sides. I definitely agree with what you're saying, but I also think the cachet of Prime and just knowing who he is and what he's done, he's the head on that snake.
Yeah, he is, yes.
I think he would have found a quarterback, or he would have done something. I mean, we're talking about a guy who got the #1 prospect to commit to Jackson State.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
So him just being Shedeur's son, or being the dad of Shedeur, just adds to it. But I get what you're saying, but I think that franchise was going to turn around no matter what, because Prime is Prime, and he's proven that he can do it. I mean, who can do what he's done? Like, who can honestly get a #1 commit to go to a school like Jackson State?
It's a very good point.
So I say yes and yes.
Yeah. So all three should. I don't think there's a world where it's...
Oh, he's going to statue.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to build that in his hotel or in his room, probably.
Yeah. There's no world where it's Travis Hunter getting glorified, Prime getting glorified, and Shedeur Sanders is not. That doesn't exist. But we will wrap up. We are a little bit over 1 week away from the NFL draft. This is the second to last episode. We will give our full predictions and mock drafts and everything in our next episode, but I'll let you close it out. Any hot takes you want to give going into this week with the draft stuff? I know all signs are pointing to Travis Hunter right now, but you don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see where Shedeur Sanders gets taken. Private workout with the Giants this coming week. Do they go him at 3? Do they wait? Do they trade up? I don't know. Very interesting to see.
You asked me for a hot take. I'm going to go, like you said earlier in the show, hypotheticals that probably won't happen. I'm going to give you something for it. All of this stuff with Shedeur Sanders, seeing him slowly fall down the list. Somehow he's going to get past the Giants, right? Somehow he's going to get past the Saints at 9. It's going to be pick 19, 20 coming up, right? And Pittsburgh's going to be sitting there like, oh my God, we're going to get Shedeur. And the Browns are going to come swooping in, and they're going to steal Shedeur Sanders from Pittsburgh, pairing up the Colorado boys on the Lake Erie shores, and that Don't Stop Believing is going to literally be on repeat for the entire month after that, because you got Flacco. You got your future in Shedeur. You got Travis Hunter, the two-way stud. Myles Garrett's back in the fold. Denzel Ward's going to be laying the warden down. It's going to be a journey. No pun intended.
I got you. That was good. We're going to close it on that. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We will be live again next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, our final episode before the Cleveland Browns are on the clock at number 2 on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network.